The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Well, good morning. It is 5:30. I'm Elena Rusk in for Maddie Jansen. Of course, we have Alex Fisher here. And speaking of the deadly weather we've seen across our state, it's still not done. California battered with these severe storms back to back, rain and wind and snow. It's been so bad in some areas that waterlogged roads are starting to give way. NBC's Dana Griffin reports from the Central Coastline.
The weekend washout is far from over. 7 million remain under flood alerts, including San Francisco, where high winds may have also caused this big rig to tip over on the Golden Gate Bridge, shutting down lanes in both directions. Near Lake Tahoe, Interstate 80 stalled by snow after several spinouts, stranding drivers this holiday weekend. An additional 1 to 3 feet of snow expected through Monday night. While the system may not produce as much rain as previous storms, already saturated land is giving way in Southern California.
What's right here? Oh my God, get away!
And in La Jolla, a man was rescued from storm waters after driving off a cliff Saturday. Rescue crews in a precarious position, hampered by rain and crashing waves, managed to airlift him to safety. Swift water rescue teams hoisted this woman hanging onto a tree to steady ground in Laguna Hills. President Joe Biden approving a disaster declaration for Merced, Sacramento, and Santa Cruz as the impacts of these storms prove deadly and costly.
It's really been from the mountains to the sea, north to south. We've been impacted all over.
In Santa Cruz, more than 1,000 residents need funds to rebuild, according to emergency officials who are closely watching this active mudslide that will keep Highway 9 closed for weeks as the road is now compromised.
All right, well, this morning, law enforcement officers across the state mourning the loss of a Riverside County Sheriff's deputy who was shot and killed on Friday. We have a picture here of 30-year-old Deputy Darnell Calhoun. He was the first deputy on the scene to respond to a domestic violence and child custody call at a home at Lakeland Village, that's near Lake Elsinore. The Riverside County Sheriff said the circumstance surrounding the initial contact was, quote, unclear, but says a suspect began shooting at Deputy Calhoun as he approached the home. Officials said a second deputy later arrived to find him wounded in the street. Deputy Calhoun was taken to the hospital where he later died.
We are sadly in a time where there is a growing population that has absolutely zero respect for other people. They have zero respect for authority. They have zero respect for law enforcement. And nationwide, we are confronting these situations with armed individuals that, over what seemingly seem to be minor disagreements, are willing to engage law enforcement in life and death gun battles.
Now, the suspect accused of shooting the deputy also shot and taken into custody. He is currently in the hospital listed in critical condition.
From our 17 follow-up file this morning, the state Supreme Court has denied a petition to review the murder conviction of Sabrina Limon, who was found guilty in 2017 in the death of her husband. Prosecutors say Limon and Jonathan Hearn carried on an affair for months and plotted the murder of Limon's husband. Robert Limon was found shot to death at a Tehachapi rail yard in 2014. Sabrina Limon's petition to the state Supreme Court was filed in November and rejected last week. That means she will continue to serve her sentence of 26 years and 4 months to life in prison. Hearn got a plea deal and received a sentence of 25 years and 4 months. And President Biden returns to Washington later today to commemorate the Martin Luther King holiday. The event will take place as the White House is facing growing criticism after it was revealed a third batch of classified documents was found at the president's Delaware home over the weekend. NBC's Chris Pallone has more from Washington.
Sources say President Biden views the discovery of classified material at his former office and his current home as the result of probable sloppiness by aides as they packed up his items when his term as vice president came to an end. The president hasn't answered questions about the matter since Thursday, avoiding reporters' questions several times Sunday during a trip to Atlanta to mark Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday.
His mission was something even deeper. It was spiritual. It was moral.
Democrats are trying to draw distinctions between the Biden team's handling of classified documents and that of former President Trump, who has insisted he declassified items found during an FBI search at his Florida home.
The president's lawyers, the moment they found out about the documents that day, turned them over to the National Archives and ultimately to the Department of Justice.
But with special counsels now investigating both presidents' handling of classified material, House Republicans are eager to put the Biden White House under the microscope.
The hypocrisy here is great. We're very concerned about a lack of transparency. We're very concerned, as I've said many times, about a two-tier system of justice in America, and we just want equal treatment, and hopefully we'll get some answers very soon.
But questions remain.
Was he aware that they'd been moved? Did he, in any case, in the past 5 years, has he handled those documents? Was he aware of them?
The White House has promised to cooperate with the special counsel's investigation. Given that several documents have now been found at President Biden's Delaware home, the Republican House Oversight Chair has requested from the White House visitor logs for President Biden's personal home as part of its investigation. In Washington, Chris Pallone, NBC News.
All right, well, President Biden approved an emergency declaration for Alabama yesterday after at least 9 people died in tornadoes that destroyed homes and knocked out power to tens of thousands across the southeast. Check out some of the damage here. The president ordered the federal aid to supplement regional recovery efforts in the area affected most by the severe storms, straight-line winds, and tornadoes that happened on the 12th. 7 deaths have been confirmed in Alabama, 2 more in Georgia. The National Weather Service says at least 7 tornadoes ripped through parts of Alabama and another 4 touched down in the state of Georgia.
Absolutely devastating there. A University of Georgia football player and recruiter were killed in a car wreck early yesterday. Georgia offensive lineman Devin Willett died in the crash, while the driver, Chandler LaCroix, was taken to a hospital where she later died from her injuries. 2 other members of the football program were hurt in the crash. However, the other 2 members are stable, according to school officials. The initial investigation found that a Ford Expedition left the roadway, striking the power pole and several trees. The deadly crash happened just hours after the team celebrated their national championship win.
All right, news around the world and tragic headlines coming out of Nepal, where authorities say 68 people were killed in a plane crash this weekend. It's the country's deadliest airplane accident in 3 decades. Rescuers scouring the crash site nearly a mile away from the airport. It's not immediately clear what caused that plane to crash. A witness said he saw the aircraft spinning violently in the air after it began to attempt a landing. Watched from the terrace of his house as it came down. He said the plane fell nose first to the left, then it crashed. Officials say the plane was carrying 68 passengers, including 15 foreign nationals, as well as 4 crew members.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.